Guys, this is Ashley Kay from lovedelusions.com, and it's a really rainy, dreary day outside in Shanghai, so I thought what a perfect day to stay in and do a video for everyone and answer some of your questions that you left me on Facebook. So the first question I have is from Tara, and she asks, her ex-boyfriend told her that what he wants in a girlfriend, and he does not think she's the one for him. And Tara wants to know, how can she prove him wrong and what to do? So first of all, Tara, you have to understand, when a guy or anyone really tells you, I'm looking for A, B, and C, and you're not it, it's really his logical brain doing the speaking. When you fall in love, your logical brain is actually asleep. It doesn't come into the picture at all, really. Okay? You don't look at a guy and say, because he has a car, he has a good job, he's good to his mom, he has a lot of friends, then you decide that you're going to fall in love with him. It doesn't work like that, right? You fall in love with a guy because you know, something about him attracted you to him, and you don't really know why, but you just feel something. Feel that spark, okay? And it's only after you get that attraction, you get that feeling, then you use logic to justify your decision to yourself or to your friends and say, okay, he's got this and this and this, and he's so great. That's because you need to justify it. You feel like you have this feeling. How else do you justify it? Okay. So the fact that he is saying, he's coming to you with this very logical argument that he doesn't think you're the one, tells me that you need to look past that and look at what he isn't saying, which is he's not feeling anything with you. Okay. He's lost that attraction with you. That's the real problem. And how a guy knows he's lost that feeling is that when he's with you, he doesn't feel good. Because when a guy is crazy about a woman, when he is like, can't wait to see her, can't wait to talk to her, that's because she makes him feel good. And he wants more of that feeling because he doesn't get that in his normal everyday life, right? Maybe he does a lot of boring things in his everyday life, and suddenly this woman comes along and just totally brightens up his day. Of course he'll want to continue to chase that, but now it seems like he doesn't feel that way about you anymore, and that's what you really need to get down to the bottom of, is why. You know, look back in your relationship and ask yourself honestly, how did I make him feel? Was he happy? And if he wasn't, and I'd probably say he probably wasn't, right? When did that change? Because clearly, if you were once together, he did feel that attraction for you, and he did feel very strongly about you. But somewhere along the way, that feeling changed. You know, it went from high to flip the other way to low. And you need to understand what happened. What did you do to make him suddenly feel negative about you whenever you're together? Now, the good thing is, once you can pretty much see what you did, now you can change it. Because without that clarity, without seeing that, then you might as well be walking around blind, because you have no direction then. So what I suggest is to go back to a period in your relationship where things were wonderful and great, and he was really attracted to you, he was crazy about you, you were crazy about him. What was that like? Well, what were the qualities in you, your unique qualities that you brought out that he was really, really attracted to and drawn to? Now, in order to get that back, you really need to do it for yourself, right? Because if you start to do those things and act in that way with the underlying motivation being to get him back, then it's not going to last and it's not going to be real, and he'll see through that. Okay, he's not stupid, he'll see through it. So you really need to bring that best of yourself back for yourself, and you really want to do this anyway because it makes you feel good, right? When you are your most happy self, you are also the most attractive that you can be, right? So that's what you want to get back, and there are things you can do to bring that back, such as spending time with your friends or by yourself, or doing things that you love to do without the presence of a man, and try to get that feeling back, get that confidence, that independence, that love for yourself back. Okay, because you had that before you met him, so you can definitely get that back again. So you want to get that back again, and then once you are, you feel that you're pretty strong, you're pretty good, then there are ways to let him see that. A few techniques you can put in there to show him that you've changed. Now, if you would like more details about the techniques and how to do the whole thing, you can check out my program, The X Recovery System. But basically, that's what you need to do if you really want to, prove that, you're actually someone good for him and not someone that makes him feel bad all the time. Okay, so that's basically my tip for you, Tara. I hope that was helpful. Now, the second question I have is from Emily, and she asks, is it worth going back to someone who broke up with you because you hurt them badly the first time? Now, this is a very interesting question, and because it's kind of, to me, it's a little bit like saying you don't want to go back because you might, because you might hurt the other person again, or you're saying you don't want to go back because you might get hurt again. So, because of the keyword worth going back there. So, I'm kind of inclined to ask you, what is your motivation in this relationship? What is it you're after? What do you want? It's important to know what you want before you can, take that first step towards it. Or else, like I said, you're walking around blind then, So what do you want? Do you want to go back in this relationship? And if you do, why? If you hurt this person that you are meant to love really badly, like you said, if you do go back, what would be different this time? Why would it be different? Because I was in a similar kind of situation. Like, I was in a relationship, and I, to be honest, I did some pretty jerky moves. I didn't treat the guy as well as I could have. And when we broke up afterwards, I was really regretful of the whole thing. And looking back now, I think I question myself whether that was really love, whether I really loved that person, or whether I was just trying to get love for myself. Because sometimes you mistake the two. Sometimes you go into a relationship and your sole motivation is really to get love because you feel, lonely or whatever, and you really just want someone to love you. So you get into a relationship, and really you come from a very selfish place because you end up giving love, but really you're after that person to give you love. Okay, so when you are going about the world in that kind of way, that's very unhealthy, because you'll end up not only hurting yourself, but you'll end up hurting them. And if you do end up, and if that's your primary mode of being, if you go out to give first in order to get, then what happens if you don't get? What if you give a lot of love but you don't receive any love? The deadly mistake there is you may start to feel resentment, a lot of built up resentment inside for that other person because they didn't give you what you wanted. But the thing is, that isn't really their fault, because you know, that's your rules, not theirs. Okay, you didn't communicate that rule with them. And when you think about it, it's not a very fair rule anyway. So you would not publicly vocalize, look, I'm giving you this, why aren't you giving me that? Okay, well, sometimes that happens. But you know, like, that's not really fair, that when you love someone, you're just meant to love them. You know, you're not meant to expect a bunch of stuff back. That's kind of being selfish. So what I suggest you to do is, if that sounds like you, that's something you do a lot, I suggest instead to give love to yourself first. When you give love to yourself first, then you can love the other person or other people, and you won't feel like you need them to love you back, because you're already giving love to yourself. Okay? And that works so much better, because then even if, you know, if in case they're having a bad day, they're distracted with a million other problems and things, then you'll still be okay. You won't start to feel resentment and anger and have all this aggression towards that person and want to be all passive aggressive, because you feel like, well, what about me? What about me, kind of thing, because you already have yourself taken care of. And that's such a better place to come from, you know, especially when it comes when it has to do with getting into relationships with different people. Like, that's key. So that's what I would suggest you to do, Emily, is to really ask yourself, why do you want that relationship back, honestly? Do you really want that person, or are you just trying to get love for yourself? And if that is true, then I suggest give love to yourself first, and then maybe you can find someone who you can really truly love without needing to go out and get it, you know, get it in order to get love for yourself. So that's basically the questions. If you have any other questions for me, please send me, you know, your messages on Facebook. I'll try to get through a lot of them if I can, and I'll answer them again in this kind of video format. Please let me know if you like this video, like me, and check out my website, lovedelusions.com. Bye.